Happy Tuesday and welcome into another edition of the Final Whistle. We got the fearsome foursome coming at you on this off week, bye week, Tuesday, but we're still going to talk a little bit Alabama football because we got a big one on the horizon. So, man, we're going to get right to it. I got my all-star panel. I got my man right next to me, Dan James. How are you doing, sir?
I'm always good, brother. Happy Tuesday, everyone.
Under him, the man, he's been here with us a few weeks now. He's getting a little more comfortable letting those lefts and rights fly. Van, how are you doing this evening, good sir?
Man, I'm doing good. I don't do good with off weeks, man. I like to see Bama play.
I think so.
Now I got to watch all the other teams play and pick them apart.
Well, and the thing is, at least in an off week, you're like, all right, it's an off week. This sucks. Let's watch some good football. The schedule sucks. It is a bad schedule.
I
But
agree.
right next to him, the enforcer, the engine behind the final whistle, the man who is never short on words, Lushan, how are you doing this evening, good sir?
Man, I'm awesome. You know, it's Tuesday, my second favorite night of the week. Well, this week it's my first since Bama ain't getting down, but we're here to talk everything Alabama Crimson Tide football. Dan James is back in the studio. Van's here, and as usual, the conductor of our shows with us. I'm ready to go. Roll daggum Tide. Petty, let's get it started.
Roll daggum tide. And as Lou said, I am Daniel Petty. I am your conductor, but we aren't the most important people here. The most important people here are the ones in the chat. Stephen Hicks, Keith Holcomb, Latoya Billingsley, all you fine folks, welcome in. Bob, I see you. Bob always giving us love. I believe Crimson, what is up? Keith Holcomb. But the next most important people, the ones that keep the lights on here at the final whistle, and that is one Title Towel. There is a wave rising in the south, and it is not the ocean. It's the Title Towel, the ultimate symbol of Bama power, brought to you by WhitwillSports.com. Whether you're in Bryant-Denny or repping from your living room, the Title Towel brings the heat. Crimson, bold, unapologetically Alabama. And right now, you can waive yours for less. Use the promo code WHISTLE at the checkout and get 20% off at WhitwillSports.com today. Join the wave the power, get your Title Towel today at WhitwillSports.com. We love you, WhitwillSports.com. We appreciate, or Whitwill Sports, we appreciate. Get that Title Towel, man. It's the off week. Get it in time to go up to Athens, or we face those Georgia Bulldogs who do not like seeing that Crimson team across the sideline, regardless of what records are. With that said, guys, we got a huge show for you tonight. We're going to talk about the elephant in the room, and that elephant in the room tonight is some elephants getting off the injury list. And then we're going to go around, talk a little bit about, we're going to recap a little bit of last week, talk about the Badger game, what we liked about it, what we didn't like. Going to talk about that defensive line pressure. It's something we bitched about all off season, and man, they got to the quarterback a little bit this weekend, but it's only going to get tougher, and we got to see more of it. And finally, there's a battle brewing at the right tackle position. If you hadn't seen the young gun, I don't know, guys. There were times the offense looked a little smoother when a certain kid took the field, and we are going to discuss it. But before we do that, hit that like and subscribe. Come on over, hop in so you can get all of that fine final whistle content. But with that said, let's get this damn show rolling with the elephant in the room. It sounds like we're getting Tim Keenan back. Sounds like we're getting a guy that we all expected to maybe even surge more than Tim, and Jeremiah Beeman. Also, the backfield. Run game hadn't got going, but there's guys that have shown some pop. Well, we're getting one more pop back in Jam Miller. What does that mean to the Crimson Tide offense and defense? Dan, I see you're back with us. Let's start with you, man. You're next to me. We'll do it clockwise the first way because I'm a simple man. What does it mean to get those guys back?
Well, to me, it's big, but then again, you know, it leaves a lot of question. You know, it's tough for your first game back is against Georgia in their third game, you know. So, but you know, we these are guys that we need and we're gonna need for the stretch run of the season. You know, Tim Keenan, he's going to be a big shot in the arm to the defensive line. You know, Jam Miller, he's going to bring consistency. You know, he was our best back. You know, and obviously one of the best backs in the country. You know, so he's going to bring that physicality that we're going to need. You know, to because you got to have a physical back against Georgia. You know, we've had that in the past. You know, guys come up huge in those type of situations. Whether it was Roydell, you know, Brian Robinson, Najee Harris. You know, you got to have those type of backs against Georgia. You know, no disrespect to Kevin Riley. You know, but you want a big physical experience back going against Georgia. And Jam Miller has played some of his best games against Georgia. So all this remains to be seen.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing when you hear about getting guys back, like, all right, they're back. Well, there's a reality to the situation too. You're just coming back. You're having to get your feet back wet, get back in a little bit of game shape. You haven't been running full. You haven't been playing with the team. How much, Van, can we expect from these guys coming off injuries and not playing? Or should we expect a little rust, or they come back in at Georgia roaring?
Well, I think because a couple of these guys, from what Coach DeBoer had been saying, like Jam Miller and Tim Keenan, they could have played against Wisconsin, but he was being precautionary. He's trying to up their workload, kind of get them back. And I think that will help with getting the rust off of them when it comes 2 weeks from now playing against Georgia. Jam Miller's an angry runner, and we're going to need that against Georgia. And I think he's going to have something to prove. I mean, you know, it was a freak injury. Things happen, but he seems like a guy that carries things on his shoulder and lets him motivate him. So I look forward to seeing – we need him coming back. A guy that I don't think people are really talking about because he has played, but Deontay Lawson, who had a major knee surgery in the offseason and has looked slow at times. He's slowly been getting a little more physical. He's getting a little more athletic. And I think these 2 weeks will help fully get him back to where he needs to be, because we all know when you injure something, it's hard to trust your body in recovery because you're so scared of re-injuring something, especially at this high of a level. You don't want to mess up your whole season. So I look forward to seeing that. As far as Jeremiah Beeman goes, I don't think we're going to see him. I think he's out for the year. From everything I understand, he's going to be gone for the year.
Is there a third one we're getting back? Did I get the wrong name?
LT Overton should be ready for Georgia. Danny Lewis Jr. is going to be – I don't really know much about him. He's had a boot on him. Hadn't really heard. It's kind of been quiet. I don't really know 100%. Lou may know something. We should get Latham back. We'll get Keenan back. And then, of course, Jam Miller. So those are key pieces on both sides of the ball for us. We absolutely need these guys because there ain't no bigger opponent than Georgia, who's coming off an emotional win against Tennessee. So they're going to be fired up and ready to go. We need these guys. There's a lot of leadership in those injured players right there. So absolutely, yeah, I think make a big difference in what we're doing, and I think they'll be ready.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, yeah, and you bring up a great point. We've got a bye week. Does that help knock some of the rust off, Lou, with them going through a full week of practice before going right into the game where you announce it and they're now working a solid week, you know, in the rotation? It's not like they're coming back game week.
Okay, so here's my take on this, and it's a little bit kind of different than everybody else's. You guys have to understand the gravity of these two who are getting back. These guys aren't just new players. They aren't plug-and-play players. These guys have been staples in this program for the last 4 years. They're both seniors. Tim Keenan is a redshirt senior, so he's been here 5 years. They are probably two of the heartbeats of this entire team. Getting them back in the locker room and playing will give this team a different attitude. Having a leader in the defensive room in pads with that black tomahawk paint on his face is going to have an impact. He's going to be able to inspire those young dudes a little bit more than some of these other guys have that have just been trying to do their job, which that's the most important thing, is doing your job. But at the same time, we've been missing that spark in the defensive line room. Everybody saw Tim Keenan, and if you hadn't, I encourage you to go check him out. He was getting in Kalen DeBoer's ear hyping him up before last game. That's what's going to happen to our defensive line, and that's the attitude we need to have going into Georgia. And on the other end, you got Jam Miller, who has been a silent assassin his whole career, has stepped into a leadership role. He has had these guys on point. I firmly believe that it was his hard work and mentorship that helped Kevin Riley rise to where he was at and be able to do some of the things he was been able to do. Now, I think Kevin's going to have a good game against Georgia, but I firmly agree with Dan. We need Jam Miller's physicality, but I'm gonna highlight something that a lot of people don't take into consideration. Jam Miller is an absolute boulder in pass protection. He has actually put some linebackers out of the game with some of the bone-crunching hits he's been able to put and protect, especially last year with Jalen Milroe. So that's another thing. And we saw some of our newer running backs aren't as experienced. And when you go up against the monster that is a Georgia defense and a Georgia pass rush, Kirby Smart, Glenn Schumann-esque, it's going to be physical and it's going to be nasty. So you're going to need to have running backs on the field that know how to be physical and how to be physical and at the right point. At the same time, Jam is a great ball catcher out of the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen what Ty's been able to do when he moves around and been able to hit Kevin Riley. That's just going to give him another running back option when Kevin Riley's not on the field, just another weapon that Ty has to do that Ty can use when he's going up against Kirby Smart.
Lou, I think you hit on possibly the most key point of it all, bud. Whether what they bring back on the field or not, I think the biggest intangible. And I remember a couple weeks ago when AJ went on his rant about, I just don't see any assholes. I need a guy. Where are the assholes at? And so I was like, well, where are they? Who is it? And to a man, they were like, well, it's Tim Keenan. And he's that leader. He's the guy you said was in Coach DeBoer's ear, firing it up. And more than anything, it brings back that leadership presence on the field. You want that on the field. And again, we're going to get to defensive line pressure a little bit, so I don't want to jump the rabbit on that. But, you know, one of the positives was we did see the defensive line step up right in the last week. Without him there, him coming back just adds that depth. That's what you got to have in SEC games, guys. You play 4-quarter SEC football. You don't need 4 dudes on that defensive line. You need 8 MFers on that defensive line that can roll. Getting Tim Keenan back absolutely is effing vital to winning in Athens, Georgia. It should be Athens, Alabama, because Alabama owns that shit. Well, Alabama and the Georgia State Patrol.
Shots fired.
Shots fired.
Shot landed.
I think y'all made great points because look, you another one you made that was really good, Lou. It's not like these are freshmen coming back like Latsier Brooks coming off an injury where we never really knew what he had before. These are guys that have done it. They're going to come in ready to man play. I think getting that week of rust off in practice because they're going to, we're not going to have the normal game week. They're going to get to hit a little bit more. I don't know, man. You need it. Get ready, Georgia. They're coming. So, speaking of, before we look over to you nasty, coming down the track, obnoxious, drunk Georgia, red and black, whatever, we're going to look back a little bit. We just got done with Wisconsin. And, I know y'all did the post-game show, and I'm sure you broke down the X's and O's, but let's go back over it a little bit, what y'all thought the positive takeaways, maybe negative takeaways were from that recap. Look, you can only play. You can't, after the Florida State game, of course, you want to get that taste out of your mouth. And then the question is, well, you're not playing it. Well, you only play who you play. You can play up to a standard. And that was one of the biggest takeaways I had is a team maybe answering the bell. So I'm going to flip it right over there to you, Dan. Badger recap. What was your biggest takeaway Saturday?
My biggest takeaway was something that I know me and Lou been talking about, we saw it early in the game. That's an interior pass rush. Can we maintain that intensity, going forward? So having an interior pass rush is very vital, especially to this defense, you know. So being able to get pressure with your interior guys, that's gonna help us throughout the season. You know, so and London Simmons, man, the guy seems to be very slippery. You know, I really like the get off of this young man. You know, so we want to continue to see him develop. We don't want to see what we've seen before from guys at the position is, you know, they hit a wall and they stop. You know, like I personally think that DJ Dale, he didn't progress after a solid freshman year. So I want to see the guys continue to progress and get better and better throughout the year. So, but that was a good start, you know, the Wisconsin game. And having Tim Keenan back, he's gonna definitely help, you know, having him back on the field. So let's see. You know, I'm cautiously optimistic from what I saw. You know, I tried not to get too high, too low, you know, but you gotta love what you saw, you know, early in the first half from our interior D line.
Mm-hmm. Ben, a week prior, you know, Ty Simpson sets a record and finishes the game 17 for 17. Everybody's like, well, it's La Monroe. Well, this week he's playing Wisconsin, and look, I know it's not the Wisconsin of old, but Wisconsin had a serious defensive line the other day. He just goes 24 of 29 for 380 yards. I mean, and was slinging it all over the field. And again, y'all talked about the defensive line pressure, but what was your takeaway now that you've had 48 hours to marinate on Ty's performance Saturday?
Well, I'm glad you brought it up because that's where I was going to go. That was the most obvious to me as far as standing out. I mean, he continued what he built off of against Monroe. And, you know, 24-29 for 382 and 4 touchdowns. He's had at least 80% completion rating and 3 touchdowns for 2 straight ball games now. And spreading the ball around, you know, he got Ryan Williams involved. It was good to see him come back. I still got some issues with things he does, but good grief, man, that kid's control of his body when people are honing in on him. I mean, it's incredible. If he could just learn to lock that ball in, quit double catching, you know. But, man, you can see how great an athlete he is. But the way he got the ball out to people, Jeremy Bernard continues to be the workhorse and the heart of this offense, in my opinion. One rushing touchdown, a receiving touchdown. And Ty's confidence is through the roof right now. And I think the OC called a good game to continue to help boost his confidence, put him in situations where he can make decisions but not have to really make crazy decisions and put the team at risk or put his level of confidence at risk. So he's building him up the right way. He's using him in the right way against the right opponents. So going into Georgia, who, let's be honest, played a great game. They showed championship caliber football, being able to beat Tennessee the way they did. But they got punched in the mouth real quick against Tennessee in that passing game. And I'm hoping we can see what maybe Grubbs is looking at some things he can expose. Because, I mean, Ty looks like he can put the ball anywhere he wants to. You know, I think the fan base is coming around to him right now. So it's fun to see, and I hope we get to see him make another step towards greatness against Georgia.
Well, and look, we say 24 of 29, and look, he had 2 huge drops. Lots of your Brooks drops,
right.
One running across the middle with nobody around him, and Hollywood dropped one in both. On
the money.
3rd down.
Yep.
And he basically, it was handoffs. I mean, he put it right where he could. But let's talk about that. Ty had a great day passing, Lou. He throws for 380, 4 touchdowns, no picks, man. He just looked, and he was spreading it out. I mean, it wasn't just the 2 we named. He's getting Brooks involved. He's getting Horton involved. He's getting all these guys, but people are still saying, and look, this is the question, Lou. You know, this is what everybody wants to know about the run game, right? Was Wisconsin loading the box and Grubb just doing what great offensive coordinators do and taking what the defense gives you and letting Ty open it up? Or was it an issue where we're going to get to Georgia at some point, need a 4 or 5 yard run to keep that clock going, or any team, and you need that dirty run late in the game? Is it going to be there? So I guess it's a chicken or egg. Was it Wisconsin loading the box, Bama taking what's to get, or is there concerns with this run game only having 72 yards, 3.3 yards a carry? Um, Talk to me, Goose.
I have a few concerns. Adjusting what you just said about the rushing, that's probably my biggest concern. 3.3 yards on the ground against Wisconsin, and then 3.3 yards on the ground against Florida State. That's not it. And those are against, I wouldn't say elite defenses, but they're against pretty good defenses. And averaging 3 yards a carry, and as an Alabama team, is absolutely not it. Regardless of whether we have Jam Miller back there or not, I think a lot of it also has to do with some of the shakeups we've had to do in our offensive line lineups, because we've had a few offensive linemen that aren't healthy. I also think some of our offensive line discipline hasn't gone exactly what we've been led to believe. I think they need to clean up the penalties. But I definitely think the rushing game is a staple in a Ryan Grubb offense. Now, I'm not sure whether we're not just attacking it so we don't give up our scheme, or whether they don't feel comfortable with the guys that they have to be able to run the ball, because the fact that we haven't broke 100 yards against good defenses worries me. Honestly, it does. Even though we got our ass kicked in one game, and then the other game we ended up beating ass because Ty Simpson did his thing. But once we start playing elite defenses, they're going to start taking away some things Ty likes to do. And if you've listened to the show at all, or me talk about Ryan Grubb at all, he loves to run the football. So the fact that we haven't seen it is either he doesn't want to give the scheme away, or they don't feel comfortable enough to run the football, which hopefully that changes with getting Jam back. But I would say that was my biggest concern over the weekend, because Wisconsin does have one of the biggest offensive lines in football, averaging, I think it's over 315 per player, which is those are road graders. If you heard me talk about them, that's what I'm talking about. If you have a road graders in a scheme like we run, the scheme works.
Yes.
Because you have to have the big bodies up front. In Wisconsin, I thought they did a great job of not letting us run the ball between the tackles, because that's what Alabama has been known for. And I also think on the other side of the football, we need to do a better job of getting off the field on third downs. We have not done a good job this season about limiting a team when we have them in negative positions. We have not done a good job of getting off the field. We get them to third and long, and then all of a sudden their quarterback dances out, or they find a screenplay or something. They pull something out their ass for a 13-yard gain on a first down. We need to do a better job of getting off the field on third down. And I think that's something that Kane Womack has been preaching about, as well as getting negative plays in the backfield.
And look, Georgia was 8 for 13 Saturday against Tennessee on third down. And I think we were on the flip side, 3 of 8 getting off of it. That is definitely a stat that, those are the in between the game within the game stats that you look up at the end and wonder why, how. It's those moments. Third down, you've got to get off the field. You have to absolutely. You nailed that, Lou. Something that's got to get fixed coming up. Got a week to do it. Dan, you gave a lot of positives. What were you? What was your biggest concern after Saturday?
My biggest concern, like we said, we wasn't gonna find out anything about this team these 2 games at home. So we know what we look like at home. It's on the road that's the problem. So it's what are we gonna see on the road, in a hostile environment again, so that's my concern, so I couldn't really take anything from this game, what I'm saying, as far as that. But we're going to Athens in 2 weeks, and that it's not going to be we're not going to expect a warm welcome, and Ty, he's going to get rattled a little bit. They're going to get to him, how we respond, because Georgia, they showed resilience on the road when it got tough early in the game. they showed that they're a resilient team. They're going to always be in the game. So are we going to maintain that intensity for 4 quarters? Because the game is going to be 4 quarters. We got to maintain that intensity and physicality for 4 quarters. And this is going to be our test. Go ahead, Luke.
No, I just want everybody to listen to what you just said. The game is 4 quarters. Remember that point, Dan, next week. 4 quarters.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. It is 4 quarters, and that's can you answer? Look, my biggest takeaway, and I won't belabor it too much, and because I said it earlier tonight when we were giving our positives and negatives, was this was a Bama team that come under a lot of fire. A lot of kids, and the kids saw it. Ryan Williams is popping back. We saw Bray Hubbard respond in the media. Yeah, I heard what you said, and y'all are right. I love the way Bray Hubbard responded. He took accountability. That's the one thing. So I guess if my one positive, you can only play the schedule it is. People are going to say, well, Wisconsin's not, they're kind of weak. So what? My one question is, how do these kids respond? And I felt like they responded. But again, it is La Monroe. It is Wisconsin. It's real easy to punch a sumbitch in the mouth, and when he don't get up, let's keep punching his ass. And that's kind of what we've done the last 2 weeks. We're about to go up the road in 2 weeks and punch somebody that's going to swing right down back. And I guess that's my thing, Van. I feel good about it. Do you feel good enough of what you've seen the last 2 weeks in a response from this Bama team that they'll take that punch in Athens and punch back?
Man, I want to hope so, but they're going to have to show it to me because I'm still disgusted with the first game. Seeing I can't get it. I can't help that. It's one thing to be physically better than somebody or have somebody physically better than you, but fundamentally, we look weak. We look distraught, and we look like we gave up at times. We half-assed it. And so I got to see you play 4 quarters of football. I still hadn't seen us play 4 great quarters consistently yet. So going into Georgia, yeah, I'm not going to start hopping them up and saying, yeah, we're going to go into Athens and do this, and this, because you got to play damn near perfect to beat Georgia. Georgia's a great football team. Like we talked about earlier, Tennessee jumped on them quick. They were down 21-7 at one point. And
it was a buzzsaw. That stadium was fucking rocking. Everything was going against them. Hell, at the first quarter, Aguilar was 17 of 17 for 200 yards on that day, which that's another note. Secondary might can get got for Georgia. But no, you're down 21-7 in a hostile environment. And
you still come back and you even things up and you don't get away from what you do well. And Tennessee knew what was coming at times and they couldn't stop it. And now they've got a new dimension with Stockton because now he's starting to show that, hey, I can move around a little bit. I can make plays with my legs too. We knew he was fairly athletic, but he looked a lot different against Tennessee than he had to me in previous games. So there's another element to Georgia that you just add new things. So, you can't help but respect a good opponent. You got to take everybody serious. I'm not rooting for Georgia. I don't like Georgia. But the truth is they're a damn good football team. And just like when you played Alabama in past years under Nick Saban, you had to play damn near perfect to beat them. So Alabama's going to have to do a lot of growing up in 2 weeks to show up and beat Georgia in Athens.
Oh, absolutely, because that's the damn alarming thing, right? You just brought it up. Gunnar Stockton, we're all the talk going into that game, and I'm one of them. He's just a game manager. Has he really got anything? And next thing you know, he's making runs on 3rd and 9. Georgia knew that Tennessee's down both their starting cornerbacks, and what do? 90% of their passes prior to that game were for shorter than 5 yards. Their first pass went for 30. Biggest play of the game, Stockton throws a dime, but man, y'all just echoed it. Dan, it's going to be a 4-quarter game. Lou said, stop right there, guys. Y'all got to pay attention. It's going to be a 4-quarter game. And you said it in your breakdown. We didn't play a 4-quarter game against Wisconsin. Now, those first 2 look badass, but the foot came off the pedal a little bit late. There wasn't that game. If you play the last 2 quarters like the first 2, you're getting in the 40s and not letting them. There was a little bit of let up, and you can't do that. There will be. You do that, and you saw that Tennessee let up at home, and it bit them in the ass. But, guys, speaking of biting in the ass, it was time finally for a defensive lineman to bite somebody in the ass. We have been pleading almost as much as I plead for the Denny dog to come back to Bryant-Denny Stadium in all of its glory, we have been pleading for the defensive line to finish at the quarterback. And now it wasn't that just take their head off Cornelius Bennett style like out of the gate. LT kind of got a foot and tripped him, but damn it, we loved it because it was a sack. But then Quay Russaw came over and got a pop. Our boy London Simmons, Mississippi young kid, God, did he show some fire. He got that sack. That might have been one of my favorite plays of the day, the London Simmons sack. And, the last sack, Pierre, was a linebacker on a stunt and whatnot. But, hell, sack. But 3 of them came from the defensive line. We saw a lot more pressure Saturday.
Four of them. Four of them.
Pierre's a linebacker, isn't he?
He's a Wolf.
Okay. Well, gosh, fuck these damn weird names. Man.
He's a Wolf.
Wolf, Bandit, Cheetah.
Quay Russaw and him play the same position.
Spider, Monkey. God bless these. I can't keep up with half of them. Can we just? That's where I'm so old school with it.
Dude, I'm so for a husk or for a spider monkey next year, man. We need
a spider monkey position, right? Defensive line pressure, Lou. I'm starting this with you, baby, because this is something that I know. Maybe if there was a highlight of the day was the defensive line finally finishing at the quarterback. Talk to me.
All right, so here we go. The defensive line so far this season has had 3 main guys that have been doing most of the dirty work. James Smith leading the way with his 9 tackles and 3 tackles for loss. And then you got LT Overton coming in with 8 tackles total, 3 tackles for loss, and getting his first sack Saturday. And the guy we just talked about, Jan Zapier, finally arriving, registering 7 tackles and 3 tackles for loss, and also getting his first sack, as well as the true freshman London Simmons. And here's where this is going to be key. The fact that our defensive line, most of that pressure, what did Dan just get done saying, came from the interior. I'm still looking for a little bit more from the outside, but one thing that they got to get a better job at is once they get him outside the pocket, they have to do a better job of either funneling him to the sideline or getting him on the ground, because too many times these quarterbacks are extending plays, and especially what Petty just got done saying, Gunnar Stockton is becoming into his 19th year, whatever they're in at Georgia, whatever they give those quarterbacks there that stay for, almost a decade. They get these magic in their feet and just are able to do these great, amazing things that they've never done before, especially in big games. So they're going to need to do a good job of being disciplined and actually not overrunning and getting too excited to get the sack. They do need to do a better job of funneling him and playing team defense with this, because as you saw against Tennessee, that kid can hurt you if you're not paying attention. He doesn't look like it, but he's going to.
Yeah.
The other thing our defensive line needs to do, they need to heat up the pressure and build that wall of hell nah when it comes to the run game. Because as I said earlier, we got the next 4 opponents. 3 of them are averaging all over 200 yards. And the 4th team, Missouri, they're averaging over 300. This is the SEC. To be successful, you're going to need to run the damn football. To be successful, you're going to need to be able to stop the run. And Alabama has got to do a good job of stopping the run, because that's how Georgia takes off. That's how Tennessee takes off. That's how Missouri takes off. And we all know that's how Vanderbilt is just getting their miracle, just whatever on 34th Street that they keep getting with Diego Pavia in his 19th year being in college football. But we eliminate all that magic if we just do this one thing. Saban said it for years. The man was an icon on it. Stop the run. It's simple. You stop it. You nut up. You stand tall, and you smack them in the mouth, and you don't get pushed back. Now, our middle linebackers are a good part of that. But if our defensive line doesn't give them a chance to make a play, I'd much rather have that as we had in our past. It's just going to come down to how much do these guys want it on our defense? Do these guys just want to talk the talk, or are they going to adapt Tim Keenan's mentality and being that alpha a-hole on the defensive line, that when he hits you, he's going to keep hitting you? and his teammates are going to come in and keep hitting you. And you know that fourth guy that comes off the bench wearing number 25 that we're going to put in the fourth quarter, just when you think we don't have another defensive lineman, that freaking nature comes out and just blows up your third string or second string running back. And you're like, where the hell did he come from? Oh, we got him stacked up. If our defensive line can get that attitude against Georgia, it's going to be the same result we had for years. But they need to take it on themselves. The coaches ain't going to do it. We ain't going to do it for them. They need to take accountability, nut up, and get the job done.
Passionate as always, Lou. I don't. It's almost hard to follow that up. Before we do follow that up, I do want to say this, Chris Williams. If you ever see me in public, just tap me on the shoulder and say it's me, and I'll buy you a beer. Like your lunatic ass has brought me more freaking entertainment. I'm pretty sure I haven't beat on where you actually cheer for, but maybe I'm wrong, and maybe you really are War Eagle. But if you do see me ever on campus, wherever, and I can buy you a beer, just tap me and say it's me, and I'll grab your ass a beer. Because on the Mount Rushmore of lunatics that have entertained the hell out of me in this forum, you are right there. And you know who's next to you? This guy I'm about to talk to next, one Van the Man, because that's something that used to make me laugh so much in chat. Van, the question is, the defensive line obviously got our Jimmies excited last Saturday. Can it continue next Saturday when it needs to most against a team like Georgia?
Well, getting some of the injured players back is going to help for sure. Experience, leadership, getting them guys back. But I need them to do me a favor and turn around and smack the shit out of the inside linebackers, because I still think they're playing like dog shit right now. I'm still frustrated with the damn inside backers. We seen Womack bring in some more traditional blitzes, and it helped get pressure, cause a little more havoc, and that's great. But damn it, these linebackers tiptoeing around, playing soft as hell. They're not helping anything. They're not helping the D-line. They're putting more pressure on the D-lines. Come on. I mean, yeah, there's things the D-line needs to do. I still would like to see them fight with their hands a little more. When you slow some of the play down and look, they lose the hand fighting sometimes. You know, it's a key part of being a lineman to lineman, a battle. You got to win those hand fights. But, you know, other than that, You see them progressing. I'm happy. Have they progressed enough to whip Georgia? Time will tell. I don't know yet, but they're taking a step in the right direction, so I got to be positive about it. But I don't have to be positive about the guys behind them. So if they'll just reach back and smack the shit out of those two inside backers, I'll feel a lot better about it, and it may wake them up. That's my solution.
Dan?
100. Man,
it's a 100. Dan,
listen, man. Van, I'm with you on that, man. That all come run fit. That's what we talk about, man. I mean, let's, you know, it was last week we talked about it, Lou. Well, you know, our inside backers, they're avoiding contact, man. They're avoiding linemen. They're dodging linemen trying to make tackles. You know, it wasn't fun to watch, and you know, it kind of cringe-worthy. You know, and sometimes you got to man up. You got to be able to take on a guard or pulling guard or tackle. You know, sometimes, you know, you got to go through a guy. You know, early in the game, just make an example.
You know what, Dan?
Yeah.
You and Van bring up a good point. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna dedicate a great part of our show next week to highlighting our inside linebackers, because we don't have enough time left in the show to speak about all the things that need to be said about them. So we're gonna highlight the inside linebackers, and especially since we have a whole nother week to talk about it, we're gonna get down and dirty. And I can promise you this, folks, me, Van, and Dan, oh wow, that even rhymed too, and the conductor over here are gonna have some stats, and we're gonna have some statistics, and we're gonna have some stuff to back up what we say, because I don't even want to open up that Pandora's box, because what flows out of there is going to be disrespect on a whole other level. And like I said, we ain't got time for that tonight, folks. But Mr. Petty,
what we do got time to talk about, though, is on the other side And that's right tackle. Guys, I mentioned it earlier in the show. Formby's, and look, he's still young, right? I still jump on the microwave society that we've turned into in football, and especially at the offensive line. And I'll go on another diatribe. I think offensive line is one of the most underdeveloped positions in the sport today, as far as getting the extra work, all the different camps and whatnot. But he's in his second year. Things are still looking a little bumpy. I'll be honest, man. There was a kid that came in Saturday that's kind of making a case for himself to maybe get the starting job. But do we do that in Georgia? Is he ready for that? I actually say, yeah. If you're that dude that tackled the guys that come in, they're ready to play whoever the hell they're playing. Is there a battle at tackle? Dan, you look excited to talk about this. Let's talk about it.
Listen, Georgia's playing their freshmen. They don't save them.
Carroll's looking good.
Yeah, man. Carroll, he's that guy. He got that mean streak. He doesn't care. You think he cares? You think he's afraid of Georgia?
The Quanjos, the guys that come like that, they come in as freshmen ready to maul, and that's right. I think Carroll might fit that.
We have that guy, right? And I think we found our guy. Lou pointed it out when he first got in the game 2 weeks ago. Lou said, "Hey, Carroll's in the game at right tackle," and we started looking and we're like, "Wow, he is," and he impressed, And we started, moving the ball, started balling guys, and we're like, man, we've been missing this, and that's that attitude that he brings, kind of like similar to when we had Landon Dickerson, that nasty streak, he kind of brings that, and we saw that last year with Jaden Roberts, guys come in and give that offensive line a jolt in the year and bring some consistency to the offensive line. And I think we got that with Michael Carroll. I always thought, I loved his upside as I said as a freshman, he was the best lineman in the country. He was the best freshman in the country. I didn't see anyone better than him. I mean, it wasn't close last year as a high school senior. I didn't see anyone that compared to him when I evaluated film, and I just thought it was at the guard. But what I seen from at right tackle, man, you gotta love it. He is a guy that's gonna go day one, top 10 pick. He's a shoe-in if there ever was one in Tuscaloosa. He is the guy on the offensive line. He's another one of those IMG guys, even though he spent, just his last year there. He's another one of those IMG guys that's going to be drafted high from the University of Alabama. And you love his physicality, his mean streak. He plays through the whistle. Man, it's something to see. You got to love that, what you see from him. I think he solidified that.
All right, Van, take it from there. Is this a battle, or is this something Carroll, do you expect to see Carroll take this over?
I don't know that the competition's over, but there's clearly a competition because Carroll played meaningful snaps. So that tells me a lot. He's clearly not happy with how Formby's playing. And, only thing I can really base it off of is when Carroll's in the game, we had some successful drives. Like, I think it was the fourth drive of the first half, and you had Carroll and Jaden Roberts together. And they seem to work really well in tandem. Mm-hmm. We went 98 yards for a touchdown. Then you start the second half, and he's out there in the lineup. We go one play, 75 yards, and we've seen some great blocking all the way around. So, I mean, he brings a mean streak and a nastiness that you're going to have when you play a team like Georgia because they play nasty and physical. They're not going to spread you out so much as they're going to beat you up and push you around. And so you got to have guys like that. I mean, absolutely. I think Carroll, it'll be Carroll's job to lose before it's over, but I think the competition still go. I think you'll see both.
Yeah, and I do. I think he's a little more athletic. I think he does bring more. I think you nailed it. If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, it's a duck, right? And when you look, you don't have to be a football expert. The offense looks better at certain times, and then you look and notice who's on the field. Well, there might be a reason behind it. Same question, Lou. Any more to add? Is the battle? I mean, obviously the battle's still ongoing, but is this Carroll's? Do you see Carroll ultimately taking it over?
So I'm going to take this a roundabout way, but I'm going to bring it home. And I'm going to start this conversation by talking about Georgia. Not about this year's Georgia. I'm going to talk about last year's Georgia. If anybody remembers that game where they started highly affecting us, is they started blowing up our right tackle. He started getting pushed back into Milroe's lap a lot, which allowed them to get some stops and allowed our defense to be on the field most of the second half, and is what we know to everybody that ended up in one of the greatest games ever to be played. This year with Ryan Grubb, and especially with how we've seen our offense move, he wants to get the players that have the ability to get out in space and block people. We have weapons that other people in the country don't have. We got fast twitch juice guys as well as possession guys and high point guys. And they're not the same players. So we can utilize and move people around. And when you're doing that, you have to be able to have linemen to do different things. You can't just be able to block. You have to be able to get out in space. You have to be able to pull, and you have to be able to hold up without any help. I've watched Michael Carroll very closely. I've been high on him ever since he signed his name on the dotted line. I said to everybody, this is another Tyler Booker. If you don't remember how Tyler Booker came in his freshman year, he split time until he took that time. Michael Carroll's going to do the same damn thing, except for Michael Carroll is a meaner, stronger puncher than Tyler Booker is. Tyler Booker was more solid and aggressive, and he kept the ball moving type player. But Michael Carroll has got a punch that you don't see with how light his feet are. Now, everybody remembers Caden Proctor getting out on that Ryan Williams screen pass. But if you watch from the actual wide frames, you see Michael Carroll being down there as one of the first linemen in the end zone. Now, take it from me, I've never seen some of the other guys on our offensive line being able to do that. To run this offense successfully, you need an athletic right tackle. You also need a right tackle that ain't scared of shit. Mike ain't scared of nothing. Mike welcomes that competition, especially since two of Georgia's best defensive linemen are both freshmen. So he's going to be going up against kids that he's gone up against before. He's going to be stonewalling Elijah Griffin. You know what I'm saying? He's played some of these players before, and he ain't scared. He went to IMG Academy for a year. He ain't shying away from the moment. He went here for this moment. He's played. He's got his weight up, and I'm telling you, me and Dan said this, once he gets on the field, you ain't going to get him off. If you see this kid start a game, I promise you, he ain't coming off till he gets drafted. And you can move him around to different spots on the line according to our other personnel. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this too. If our left tackle don't get his act together, we might even see Jackson Lloyd out there. Because giving up 8 pressures in one game as a so-called top lottery left tackle is not it. And I personally know Jackson Lloyd, he's been getting more snaps. And he's a very athletic, very strong, and he's got a mean streak to him. These younger kids got mean streaks that some of these older kids don't really have. And I think they fit more, especially in Ryan Grubb's scheme and how, especially with Ty Simpson, his ability to roll and make plays in the pocket, you're going to need an athletic tackle that, okay, if he gets beat, he can funnel him another way or funnel him this way, or he can shield him off this way. Not just if he gets beat, our quarterback's getting smashed, which is what's been happening from our left tackle a lot this season.
Well, man, Lou, you really hit on it right there. A lot. So I think someone asked last week, is Cap, the offensive line coach, the problem? You just said it's the younger guys with the mean streak. And you know who else? It's the transfer. Cam Dewberry has been probably the meanest, most consistent lineman on there. And He's a Texas A&M guy. It's the young guys that the new coaching staff brought in and the transfers they brought in that are showing a little more fire, is what it sounds like to me, Lou.
Yeah, they do, and they're hungry. I feel like especially some of these older offensive linemen, they're all set and being starters because they've been here 4 or 5 years, and they need to get that competition because when Alabama's trending up, we got young guys on our offensive line because those young guys are hungry. You're going to get experience. You don't get experience you get experience by experiencing it. That's the only way to get it. So if you want to actually get these young guys good, the guys that are going to be in our program for the next 2 to 3 to 4 years, not these guys that have been in the program and been taking up space for the last 3 or 4 years, we need to especially be looking to the future and getting these guys in because we got guys that we haven't even talked about that I think can contribute.
Well, and we've got a few minutes before I get to questions because we've actually done well and been on track tonight, guys. Well done. We're very efficient, but like our team needs to be in 2 weeks. With that said, man, you talk about battle at right tackle. Let's talk about battle at offensive line. Where would because Vandermark and Jaden seem to still kind of be battling out at one of the guard positions. Like I said, Brailsford and Dewberry have been probably the most consistent. But like you mentioned, that left tackle is there's been a lot of pressures come off the left side for a guy that's supposed to be a top 3 NFL prospect, right? What would you like to see this line settle out at, Dan?
Yeah, that speed rush was giving him his problem, but fortunately for us, he's built for a team like Georgia. So he's going to be a guy that we're going to need going into Athens. With the way they play along the defensive line. So I want to see him improving his step, his first step. His lateral quickness leaves a lot to be desired. And he gets offset too easily. When a guy makes the second move, he can't counter. He struggles with that part of the game, and he getting straight bull rush, speed rush by guys that are way, half his size. He struggles with that. Guys running straight at him, getting up on him. He tends to struggle with that, and I don't know if it's anything that's gonna be corrected during the season. That's something you really have to have it in you. So you don't just all of a sudden become great against the speed rush when you struggle against it for so long. 360, 370 pounds, that ain't helping.
No.
Yeah, I mean, so we are what we are at left tackle right now. And so we just got to be able to counter that.
Good stuff, Dan, as always. Well, look, before we get to the wonderful questions from our wonderful fans that have been waiting patiently, Lou, Van, anything left to add on the offensive line stuff?
I think we need to establish a culture under this new coaching regime that says your job's never safe. If these young guys are hungrier than you, they're meaner than you, they want to come in and play, your job's never safe. If they outplay you, you're done. And that from practice to Saturdays, it doesn't matter. And that establishes something. Pressure makes diamonds and it busts pipes. And you would learn who's your guys, who's going to be the guys when the game's on the line against good teams, who's going to step up when it matters most. And you can learn those things at practice. And I'm with y'all, man. The left tackle, I've seen him get bull rush, speed rush, swim moved. One-on-one, he's disappointing, man. And I don't see this top 10 draft pick for him like everybody's saying. When you give up 8 pressures in one game, come on now. And that's not top 10 material. But is he more focused on what he's going to look like for the draft, or is he more focused on helping Alabama win? If he don't have that mentality, he can go sit on the bench. I could give 2 shits. It don't mean nothing to me. They need to play somebody who wants to play, that's got a mean streak and wants to get out there and protect the quarterback and help a young guy develop and grow through the season. And if he has trouble trusting his blind side, there's a problem there, guys.
You go. Lou, any final words before we get to the wonderful audience questions?
Yeah. If you're 6'7", 360 pounds, why aren't you the baddest mother on the team? You're the biggest guy. You boast about you being the strongest guy on the team. Why aren't you the BAMF? Why haven't we seen you slam people down? The only person I've seen you successfully block was a damn DB out in space on a trick play.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see the big man be big against somebody that's actually big. I want to see him actually act like the first round that everybody's got him. I want to see Caden Proctor be mean. I want to see the Caden Proctor that everybody believed Caden Proctor could be, because I don't still believe we've seen Caden Proctor arrive yet. And I would challenge the rest of our line, because honestly, other than Parker Brosford, everybody on that offensive line has to get meter, and they have to get more discipline, and they have to get better. Even Dewberry, with what he's been able to do and be successful at, there's still some times in pass protection that he does break down a little bit, so he can get better at that. So I would challenge our offensive line to get better as a whole and to communicate defensive stunts a little bit more. And honestly, you're going to act like a badass, be a badass. You want to be known as a fighter? Hit somebody. Don't let the fight come to you. Take the fight to them.
There you go. Well said, Lou. All right. I think I see a few starred questions there from our fans. I Bleed Crimson. Do y'all think this defense is struggling some because Womack didn't recruit most of these guys beside the secondary or not? I'll let Lou. You want to take that? If anybody wants to.
I'll take it.
It's more so that it's a personnel thing.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily the recruiting aspect. It's that there wasn't the proper bodies to run his scheme successfully just yet. He's got to do a job of building. He's got to do a better job of building the scheme he wants through recruiting, because the players we have here are left over from our older defensive schemes. They don't have the bodies. They don't have the abilities that you need to play a successful defensive schemes. That's why you've seen, and I'll say this, Kane Womack has done a good job of creating stunts to be able to get pressure, to be able to supplement for the fact that we don't have big major road graders on our defensive line. But no, I don't think it's not him not recruiting. It's more of a positional thing.
Answer, Lou. All right. I'll sling them out. I Bleed Crimson. Do y'all know if they're practicing yet, the injured guys? Dan?
I think they're practicing. You know, they actually went through warm-ups last game. So of course their time then no contact. They're probably still no contact, you know, but this week they're gonna get after it, you know, and so they got 2 weeks to get right, but they're definitely practicing, you know, what the level of contact we're seeing is another question to be asked, but they're definitely practicing. They've been practicing. So how much contact they've been receiving is yet to be, you know, known. So but we can confirm that they definitely have been practicing.
Good stuff. All right. I just tagged one. I just for freaking Lou. I love it. Latoya Billingsley. We love you, Latoya. Roll Tide. Happy Tuesday. What's the problem with this offense if we're handing the ball off to a wide receiver on 4th and 1 inside the 5, or is Germ just a playmaker?
I didn't see an issue with that. You know, that was you putting the ball in the hand of a playmaker. But you know,
go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, Wisconsin had they got some dudes up front, you know. So that's what they do, you know. So they make you, you know, that's the one thing Wisconsin was going to take away with the inside run, just because of the physicality that they had, you know, up front and the size of the guys. You know, that's one thing they're sold out to doing is stopping the inside run and stopping short yardage situations. So that was just a situation where we were being creative. I have no problem.
And it was, and Jeremy is a playmaker, and you look, your job is to score. But does that just concern you that you can't get 1 yard with just playing smash mouth?
It's kind of one of them things where, yes, I do want to be able to run the ball and run it effectively. There's times when you need to be able to string out long drives to rest your defense, to keep the ball out of the other team's hands if they're really good offensively. And part of that's being able to run the ball and running consistently and knowing your offensive line can step up, create holes, and allow your running back to be the playmaker that he's supposed to be. But that being said, and Dan and Lou has stated it, Wisconsin was going to do everything in their power to take that away from us. And they do have some great linemen, especially interior linemen. And it's one of them things where I think Grubb looked at the situation and goes, hey, they're going to try to take this from us. So let's take what they're giving us here. So let's play to the outside on this play. Let's out-athlete them. You know what I'm saying? And so, and it was at a crucial moment where you can start building a lead, get an early score. And I don't know. I have a hard time questioning. I think I would have done the same.
Yeah, just beat him to the pylon. That's all he had to do.
You can't take away. Look, they landed a diamond in their own. They got a transfer from Louisville who didn't play last year, so everybody forgot about him. If he would have played last year, he would have been at a school like Alabama or Georgia or someone like that, because I think he had like 7 sacks his freshman year, got injured, didn't play. Kid's a hell of a defense. They got a hell of an edge rusher. All right, Lou, what's next? Latoya Billingsley again. Which 5 guys do y'all want to play on the O-line? At all times, I kind of ask that, barring injury. Enough for the switcheroo. All right, Lou, give us the final 5. Who you want on there?
I'll give you the 5 I want going into Georgia.
Let's do it.
Give me Caden Proctor, Cam Dewberry, Parker Brailsford. Question mark at right guard.
Come on now.
And Michael Carroll. Like, here's the thing. My choice at right guard would be Michael Carroll. But being as if he's pushing our right tackle out, he's going to play out there. So it's going to have to be, in this situation, probably give me Jaden Roberts. Because he does play well against Georgia. Him and Caden Proctor have a history of playing good and being able to bully some of those Georgia guys. So give me across the line in front again. I'll say it again. Proctor, Dewberry, Brailsford, Roberts, and my guy, Michael Carroll.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. Got Pineapple Hut 7-day vacation rental. Holy hell, what a great name. Yes. What is going to happen when the Georgia defense starts sending stunts on Ty Simpson? Which one of you fellas want to take this one?
Well, you hopefully you want to see explosive plays. Parker Brailsford, he's been tremendous at handling stunts. He's very smart, probably the smartest offensive lineman in the country. And that's his thing. He handles stunts well. So hopefully we can burn them when they do that. Because that's what they try to do to generate pressure. Georgia didn't have the guys off the edge, that'll strike fear in you, but they do have the dudes up front that can get to you, and they're going to bring different types of stunts and exotic blitzes and things. So you hope, out of the fear for the guys that we have, we have guys that can burn them. We have the Ryan Williams, we have home run hitters. Wheel routes. They can't defend that. Still. So that's what we hope to happen: explosive plays in the run game as well.
Pineapple Hut 7-day vacation rental. That sounds like a weed strain. All right, what's up, Liv?
Hold on. Here's another thing that we haven't had in a long time, too. We got a tight end that we could put out there that's going to erase a Georgia linebacker in Caleb Edwards.
Yes.
He put his 265-pound shoulder in one of them Georgia linebackers, them stunners a couple times. They ain't going to want to come. They ain't going to want to get the tie. Everybody wants to get the tie until you actually want to get the tie. It ain't going to be easy because we're going to have Jam Miller back, too. I love to see one of them dudes run through Jam. It ain't going to happen. They weigh the same.
All right. Good stuff, Lou. Bama ball number 9. Who is responsible for the training and development of the offensive line? It's Cap, right?
Yeah, Cap.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Kapulovic.
Forward. Yeah, I mean, hey, man, he's Joe Moore award-winning offensive line coach. Give the guy a minute to do some work. Dirt Road Bigfoot. How do y'all think the offense will react when plays are not going their way with tougher teams? And that's the fool's gold question, right? It's easy to look good when you're running all over the place. What happens when they get popped?
All right, and come one-dimensional. You want to get to that point where you have to become one-dimensional, like how it was at Florida State. So
I guess that's the $1 million
question.
You
got to stay on schedule. You got to stay on schedule.
Do they answer like they did at Florida State, or do they answer like they have the last 2 weeks?
Yes, the duality of this season so far. Do we see the effort and the the lack of fundamental effort when it comes to playing football like we did against Florida State, or do they look like a team that's progressing and trending upward like they have the last 2 weeks? We don't know. We hope to see the best of them yet, but we don't know yet.
I think this is I think the offense will be fine. I think people need to pay more attention to Ty Simpson and what he's been able to do, how well he's been able to take care of the football, the decisions he's been able to make. And I know everyone's saying, "Oh, well, he hasn't been here, he hasn't done this." Well, he might not have played, but he's been there. He heard that noise before. He might not have been in the middle of that field when it counted, but he was still on that damn field. He's watched players do it. This is not a young person we're talking about. This is a grown, young man. And I think and plus, we're not really that young of an offense. Like, we have young players, but we're not that young as an offense. Like, our starting running back's a senior. Most of our offensive line, in lieu of one, is either a junior or a senior or a redshirt senior. Our wide receiver, senior. And then we got a sophomore and a freshman. So I think people need to give our offense a little bit more credit, because it wasn't necessarily the offense that was the major issue against Florida State. If your defense is giving up points and on the field most of the time and not getting stops, not giving the offense an opportunity to put the ball in the end zone, the offense isn't going to look good. But I think our offense is going to be fine. I think our offense is actually going to excel better when it comes to the bright lights, because people aren't going to be expecting it. They're going to be expecting them to fold, and I don't think Todd does anything. I think he does the exact opposite.
Stop. Next. Bama ball number 9. Do y'all think Grubb is saving some running scheme plays for SEC play?
I mean, I'm sure he's got things in the bag he ain't pulled out yet. I mean, he ain't no rookie. He's been coaching a while. And he's probably looking ahead at film and finding out that, this team doesn't play well against this, and we can design something for this and that. So, yeah, I'm sure he's got some things in the bag.
Good stuff. And, man, I saved this last one. I've got an answer for it, but this last question is for Lou and Lou alone. Tennis girl, when will we bring back the white helmets? I'm going to answer real quick with my answer, which is hopefully when they bring back the real damn Denny dog. But I'm going to let Lou take this one, since this is near and dear to his heart. I love tag. I tagged this. Was so happy when this came up.
The white helmets are not a thing, and let me explain why. For everybody that wants the white helmets back, yes, they might look cool, petty. They might look good with our all whites, and everybody might like, the all white Alabama look. But I'm going to remind everybody of something. Who has white helmets in this conference? Auburn, right? LSU, Clemson, teams that haven't necessarily been doing good. Florida has a white helmet at times. Teams that have white helmets don't win national titles. It doesn't happen. So I don't think we need to be like everyone else. I don't think we need to be like everyone else and change it up. the white helmets ain't gonna make Alabama good. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. The color of the helmet does not make you a good football player. And I am not about the movement of looking pretty. We got enough players on our team looking pretty. We don't need to change anything more than what we've already done so far. So no, the white helmets need to stay in the past. It's a good historic thing. Maybe break it out for like an opening day game against somebody that don't matter. But as far as I'm concerned, them white helmets can stay up in the museum.
I love it. Love Lou's passion. I apparently watched way too much White Men Can't Jump as a kid. And I fall under the, look good. But I agree with you, Lou. It's not about the helmet, baby. But I say bring them back and bring back the Denny dog. But guys, more importantly, we brought back the final whistle and we brought back the thunder this fine night. Gentlemen, any more questions? Was that it? I think that was that the last one? Tennis girl was asking.
Yeah.
He was throwing all kind of like bombs out there in the chat. I noticed, like bring back Mike Shula to running back coach. I mean, she was just trying to fire up the chat.
Bill Curry is also
Bill Curry is out.
That was funny.
Ooh.
It can't make you faster.
Well, guys,
White helmet's not gonna make you faster.
or more physical.
I mean,
No, it definitely ain't gonna make you more physical.
We've got 2 weeks. That means 2 weeks of no sleep of Kirby Smart, knowing that the Crimson Tide's coming, that the Georgia State Patrol could arrest half of his team in that amount of time.
I think that's what he's worried about. that 2 week break. He's like, damn, we ain't got nothing to do this weekend. Wonder what all my boys are gonna be doing. Drinking and driving.
Well, guys, we got 2 weeks. We got 2 weeks before we strap them up big time, before we get a lot of answers. I'll be honest. We will know, good, bad, or ugly, come Saturday night in 2 weeks, what this Crimson Tide team's really got. And I'm ready for it. I look, man. AJ said it. You play to a standard, not the team on the other sideline. I've seen a little bit more of it. We got to see a little bit more of it. We'll see, guys. We got 2 weeks, but, the Avengers are going to be back. We're going to see you one more time before we kick it off with those Georgia Bulldogs. I think Lou said we're going to talk a little linebackers. We're going to talk a little bit of football. So, guys, more than anything, we appreciate your time this evening. Hit that like and subscribe. Those numbers crawled up through the night. I'm going to let my cast and crew go around and give final thoughts. Tell us where you can be followed. And then we're going to sign off until next week. Dan, give us a little love. Tell us where to follow you. All that good stuff.
Definitely. You can follow me on X at the Final Whistle Dan. Follow me on Instagram, Dan James IV. Facebook, Dan James IV. Right here every Tuesday night, the Final Whistle with my cast of Avengers. Y'all be sure to hit that like and subscribe. And thank y'all for taking time out y'all busy schedules to come spend with us.
Absolutely. They ain't wearing crimson. Mitch, we hear you, Mitch. Lou agrees 1,000,000,000%. Van, final thoughts. Anything good, or where can we find you? All that good stuff.
Man, y'all know me. You can't find me nowhere. You can find me on no flight list. You can find me on Facebook offending people every once in a while just because I ain't got nothing to do in 5 minutes or something like that. Mostly, man, I'm just hanging out, watching football, and waiting on Bama to get better every week. So you can catch me on Tuesday night. That's most important.
Good stuff. Van, as always, you've been great with my man. Lou.
Well, I'm not going to say where you can find me because I don't even know where you can find me these days. But on Tuesdays, you know where you're going to see me at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern at the Final Whistle with these Avengers talking about the greatest damn football team in the greatest country on the planet. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram, Lucian Graves, Twitter, 4row, Lush1, and 456, The Final Whistle. Guys, it's been a great show. I had a lot of fun. And we're going to be doing, I'll still be having the Saturday morning AM Scramble, but there will not be a post-game show because there's no game, but there will be a scramble on Saturday morning. So go ahead and check that out. It'll be at 8:30 Central. Or no, 8:30 a.m. Central on Saturday morning. We got a couple guys on there. We talk about the top 25 matchups, what's going on in the state of college football. I got a couple pretty knowledgeable guys and breaking down the north side of the country, the Big Ten. So it's pretty exciting. We got some good things happening. So if you guys aren't doing nothing Saturday morning, come check it out.
Absolutely. Go check them out on Saturday morning. Good stuff, man. And I'm the conductor of this Avenger engine, Daniel Petty. Like Lou said, it has been a phenomenal night. Great show with you guys. The banter, as they say it across the pond, has been fabulous. The crowd has been awesome. So we appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all spending y'all's time with us. And let's effing go. Let's get those Denny dogs. Let's get those white helmets out of here. Let's head to Athens to kick some Georgia Bulldog ass. We will see you guys next Tuesday. Much love and roll damn tide.
Roll damn tide.